neighbors. It is 4.5 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on this perfect day. It is the 10th day, the 10th of August already. So good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital, with studios at 88 to 90 Abercrombie Street in Port of Spain. Of course, full casting as usual. We just heard Paul Richards with our news brief. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Raghubarasinghe. We got Ruben in the background. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. All right, let's get into the WTs, see what's happening with traffic and weather. I got nothing to tell you about. Nothing to tell you. East, west, north, and south, and in the middle, we have nothing to tell you about. Okay? But let's see what's happening weather-wise for today. I thought this morning was quite warm when I came out, and it's 27 degrees at Piarco International Airport. It is 28 in Crown Point in Tobago. Wow, I tell you, it's warm already. And of course, the Met Office, which was updated at 3:56 yesterday, they said it's going to be fair and hazy, but becomes partly cloudy from late morning, early afternoon, with some isolated light to moderate showers in confined areas. There's a low chance, 20 to 30%. Some of these showers could become heavy and/or thundery, favoring western and hilly areas of Trinidad. This evening will be mostly settled. So today is going to be pretty much a scorcher. All right, it's going to be a hot one. Make sure you're hydrated. Let's check some temps. Toronto, mostly cloudy at 19. Miami, 29. Warm. It's warm in Florida. Orlando, 27. New York, mostly cloudy and 21. Atlanta, 23 and mostly cloudy. London, partly cloudy and 24. Tampa, you're at 28 and clear. And of course, Washington, D.C., you're cloudy and 22 degrees. All right, that's some temps. All right, let me say good morning going out to Paul Richards before I say good morning to those.
Good morning, Steve. Morning, everyone.
Morning, Paul. Morning. Let's say good morning going out to Maria Marva, Garcilia in Valencia, DJ Ray in Delaware, Wendy Ann, Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona, Oliver Man Warren, and CG out in New York. Good morning to you. Those on YouTube, oh, you just flooded in. Watching us on YouTube, let's say good morning going out to Mo Gaines, the Great. We got Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Eastland, Alexander, good morning to you. Marcia Rock as well. It's very hot here in Orlando. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Marcia. Eastland is saying London is hot today. I know 24 degrees. That's hot for you guys. Kazim Mohammed, good morning. Doreen Pierre. Dave S.N. Singh. Okay, Dave, thank you for messaging us. Good morning to you as well. So what's going on, Pablo?
Normal.
Normal.
Election dramas, you know.
Yeah. The noise is moving around.
Yeah, well, it is that time of year, or that time in the
country. That time. That is so true. It is that time.
I haven't actually had a chance to scope the papers for the morning yet, but let me go online and see.
Really? Yeah. I haven't done that. But of course, I'm sure making the headlines would be the TSTT issue.
Yeah, that'll be the biggest issue as of yesterday.
Yeah. And free data till midnight.
They rectified it quite quickly, to their credit. They actually rectified it in a reasonable amount of time.
Well, they said it was fully restored, but when I tried to call some B mobile numbers yesterday afternoon, problem with another network.
Well, I think the other network was affected because of the B mobile problem.
Yeah, I think so.
You know?
I think so.
But I think it was rectified within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, but boy, it was like...
But that was drama.
Yeah, that was...
Remember yesterday you all told me you had internet problems very early?
Yeah, yes. Forget that was it.
Remember you all told me that? Yeah, that was it. Mm-hmm. So that was why I was having the glitches and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you were the early warner.
Yeah, because I don't usually have internet
Early
now.
warner.
You might want to rephrase that.
Don't. After I said it, I said, "Oh shoot, where's Wendell? I thought Wendell was coming on this morning."
It's Thursday today. Well,
Yeah, of course, our guest this morning will be the political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith. He'll be our guest this morning. And of course, our guest tomorrow morning will be the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley. All right, he'll be our guest tomorrow morning.
that's dear Gary this morning.
Sorry?
That's dear Gary.
Yeah, so Gary is on this
That's,
morning.
that's dear Gary. That's dear Gary, not to say Rowley once.
All right, I've got a better one there. All right, you say not to say Rowley once. I say not to say Rhoda Barrett once.
No, he over that, man. He won.
Yeah, he did win.
Yeah, he won the court case. So, she can't call his name at least I think until October, November, according to a court order, if I'm not mistaken. She can't reference him on social media. She called his name personally in front of somebody, but she can't reference him on social media or digital platforms. I think until November.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's another day right there.
Yeah, so I don't think she can do that legally. But I mean, it'd be interesting to hear. I really want to hear what the NTA's plans are, because a lot of time when you hear Gary, it's about Rowley, and you know, and I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what the NTA's plans are as a political party if they win districts in this local government election. And certainly, I've heard Gary reference if and when we get into power, which suggests that clearly the UNC-NTA alliance is planned to go past the local government election. So, I really want to hear what the NTA's plans are, and what he plans to do, what seats he may plan to contest if and when an election is called in 2 years, because it's due in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is not in terms of politics, is not necessarily that far away. So
yeah, blink of an eye.
Let's just
be competing in front of your home.
Right, and what you're going to see now is our swimmers making their way to the podium at the Commonwealth Youth Games to be medaled. So I thought this is a good way to start the morning,
A little good news, yes.
Kind of thing, and really happy to be able to share this.
Yeah, this video came to me, but I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Because they've been doing very, very, very well.
They're doing well.
And two of the three top medals to our swimmers, I think, young Nikolai, and I forgot the other young man's name. But certainly, you see why I think it's important to find these videos and play them. Is we're always talking about the youth doing this and the youth doing that and the youth doing this. It's usually in a negative context. So when they're doing great stuff like this, we need to celebrate them. Yeah.
The winner of the bronze medal, representing Trinidad and Tobago, Zarek Wilson.
Zarek Wilson there.
Yeah. Winning bronze.
Isn't it even cheers to see that red, white, and black on him?
Yeah, I like that jacket though.
Yeah, it is a nice jacket.
I think that jacket has been earned.
Well, yes, to me, they should be selling them. It should be able. It should be on sale.
The merchandising part of it.
Yeah, the merchandising part of it. I think people would gladly purchase that for their kids and for themselves.
Oh,
for
definitely.
children.
The winner of the silver medal, representing the Bahamas,
Mhm.
Marvin Johnson Jr.
So congratulations to him, young man from the Bahamas. So which
Yeah.
means we got the gold too, right? So we got bronze and gold.
Yeah. Got his medal around the neck. Right. And of course, we head across to the gold medal. Oh, he's collected. No, they're getting something else here. I like the Moko Jumbies in the back there.
Yeah, I think that's the aquatic center at the location.
Yeah.
Gold medalist and
Here we go.
Commonwealth Youth Champion.
Mm-hmm.
He did it in the 200 free. He brought it home in the 100 free. And
Oh.
now, in a time of 2:36 from Trinidad and Tobago,
The 3 medals he won, wow.
Nikolai Blackman.
Remember that name.
Nikolai Blackman.
Remember that name. He's going to bring us a gold Olympic medal.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it starts, huh? Youth Commonwealth Games gold medalist. I think as the announcer said, the house announcer said, he 2 other medals before this. So congratulations to him and all of them, and all our athletes who are doing us so proud.
What a chanting in the background.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Got
please.
that in stereo.
So
Yeah. Nikolai Blackman winning
I think
gold.
that is to be played. That's
Right.
now.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Mhm. Anthem really sounds good on pan, you know.
Sounds good anyhow, Steve. Anyhow.
Yeah. Wasn't any last Olympics they wanted to use of that version? And I have to check it out.
So congratulations to the Xavier, what's his name? And Nikolai.
Yeah. Nikolai
Marvin
Blackman.
Johnson Jr. and Nikolai Blackman.
Yeah.
Very proud of them.
We had some good news to start up your Thursday morning. And you're right,
That's right.
exactly how it starts up. Next step
That's how it starts.
eventually would be the Olympics. And then we'll all be glued to our televisions to watch it.
World Games and Olympics. At that kind of start, he clearly is very talented, is a gift, and he's certainly trained very hard. So
Mm-hmm.
good for him, good for him. We could open the phone lines that will call and give him their congratulations and share in the wonderful moment for Trinidad and Tobago. 222 talk 222. I always forget this number.
8255. Let's say good morning
8255.
going out to Rena Boodoo Jennings on YouTube. Edwin Marshall, Helen Prescott. Good morning to you as well. Have a great day. Of course, all those can send us a message via YouTube or our mobile app and website at power102fm.com. And just a reminder of our morning, which can vote and give you the results coming up in a short. Do you agree with the Prime Minister's opinion that Jack Warner's return to politics is to strike a deal to avoid extradition. That was our poll yesterday. Of course, we'll give you the final results. If you didn't vote yet, you can sneak in and vote right now. All right? We do have a couple of calls coming through, so let's say good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, folks. I first want to compliment Dr. Richards on his balanced view on the show on issues first. And I want to compliment the youth team with all the medals. Could we see how much medals you have won thus far?
I'm not aware yet, so I don't want to say. But I think we've been winning some. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'll find out before the end of the show today.
Right. Thanks a lot again, and all the best. Keep it up.
Let me message Brian Lewis. Brian Lewis will know. Thank you, man.
Yes,
let's see. We're fifth actually with 11.
Who's on top? Who's leading?
It's Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, they have their medal count. Australia is number 1 with 18 gold, 14 silver, 16 bronze, equals 48. England is second with 15 gold, 17 silver, 7 bronze, making it 39. Scotland, 10 gold, 8 silver, 2 bronze, makes it 20. South Africa, 6 gold, 4 silver, 7 bronze, and 17. Trinidad and Tobago, 4 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze, carrying our count to 11.
Makes you feel so proud.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. After us will be Northern Ireland with Northern Ireland got 8. Wales got 13 medals. We didn't have this in order. Jamaica has 4 medals.
So we're doing pretty well. We're 5th in the running so far.
Yeah. Canada only have 1 medal, and that's a silver. Wow.
So we ready? I think we really need to congratulate these young people, these young men and women.
They're doing. Guyana has been within the region.
Yes.
Bahamas has 4. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
We're doing us very proud.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody hit the lever there, boy. Thank you, caller. All right, so 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. You can send us a message via YouTube or on our mobile app or website at power102fm.com.
Yeah, Brian just confirmed what you just said. 4 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing really well.
And these are the Olympians of tomorrow.
Yeah,
He says it's the best ever to date in the Commonwealth Youth Games, our performance. So
yeah. Let's call Brian.
yeah, you can do that. He's up.
Ms. Maloney, good morning to you. I just saw you snuck in. Yeah, let me call Brian. Let me get this. He just messaged me a little while ago, early this morning. And there we are.
Nikolai Blackman and Marvin Johnson Jr., Team TTO, are doing us very, very proud there, you know. Right. So that I am extremely happy to see. So you can, and you know, just always support them. I always say, because these are the people who are going to bring home Olympic gold and World Championships gold medals moving forward.
All right, so Mr. Brian Lewis, morning. Brian?
Yeah, good morning. I'm hearing you. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Just Paul and myself so far this morning. How
Morning,
you doing?
Brian.
I'm good.
What do you think about
So we
our
just
athletes?
At the Commonwealth Youth Games,
Yeah.
well, was some fantastic. To see the youth of Trinidad and Tobago performing so well against their peers in the Commonwealth, especially with some of the bigger Commonwealth countries. The performances, especially in swimming, when you consider the big guns such as Australia and England, South Africa, New Zealand, Canada are here. It's awesome.
And we're leading the medal count within our region, right?
Yeah, so far we are fifth of the table here. 4 gold, 4 silver. I think it's 2 bronze, 3 bronze.
3 bronze.
3 bronze.
We're fifth on the table, correct.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And, I think that one of the things is, in our typical Trinbagonian fashion, we underestimate the significance of Trinidad and Tobago hosting for the first time a multi-sport games. It hasn't been easy. There are challenges. Like anything else, once you're doing it for the first time, whether it is riding a bike, swimming, arithmetic, maths, you will always have challenges, but the important thing is to learn and grow. But it also showed the power of home court. And, this it has shown that. I mean, Nikolai Blackman and said, in one of his interviews, especially when he was going after the first gold medal in the 200 meter freestyle, when he started getting tired and the guy had passed him, he said he kept hearing the crowd screaming and making noise in his ears. And that propelled him and gave him that additional drive. So, we underestimate also the power of home court and home support.
How do you think the games have gone so far, generally?
Like, pardon?
How do you think the games have gone so far?
I think it has gone as well as it could have. There have been challenges behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, at this point in the game, the focus is always about the athletes and ensuring that they can perform to the best of their ability. They are safe and they are happy. The fact that you have so many records being broken, for example, at the swimming, at the aquatic center, it speaks to that the event, that particular meet has gone well, notwithstanding the challenges.
That's good. What are the other disciplines that we've done well in, if you can tell us?
Yes, of course, cycling and track and field. Those are where the medals come from. Yes, swimming, cycling, and track and field. The team sports have struggled mightily. In Fast 5 netball, the beach volleyball, and of course the rugby sevens. It triathlon would have struggled. But the 3 sports, cycling, track and field, and swimming, are where traditionally, even at the senior level, at the Olympics, at the Commonwealth Games, Pan Am, and CAC Games, we have done well. They didn't have hockey, and normally in hockey we could fight, but it augurs well, notwithstanding the challenges we are facing as a country, as a society. It augurs well that sport continues to offer hope and positivity, and as I said, the youth continues to fly their flag against all odds.
Yes.
Team Couture.
I see Sana Frederick won bronze in the women's 100-meter race as well.
Yes. But what I would also use the opportunity is to encourage Trinidad and Tobago to go out and support. So the games will come to an end tomorrow, Friday. So essentially, today is the last day for your cycling down at the cycling velodrome in Cuba and at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. And the session starts at 4. It will be awesome because we have a couple of the young Team TTO athletes competing in finals today. 200, you have the 800, and then of course you will have the relays. So it will be just awesome if people could, as the games comes to an end, really rally around our athletes and cyclists. And information on tickets and how you can get there is available on the Trinbago2023.com website.
Trinbago2023.com.
So I encourage and urge Trinidad and Tobago, if you have missed out on supporting the young Trinbagonians, today, go out. This is your last chance, last opportunity to do so. So go out and support.
Yeah,
what do you see the trajectory for these two young men? Because I mean, they certainly have talent and they've worked very hard in swimming.
Beg pardon? In terms of
what do you see the trajectory of these two young men, Nikolai Blackman and Marvin Johnson Jr.? What's next for them? What do you think?
No, Tariq Wilson, Marvin Johnson Jr. is the Bahamian. So I know.
Okay, Tariq Johnson.
Tariq Wilson. Of course, well, in terms of both of them, Nikolai Blackman is off the scholarship in the US. Young Wilson is already there, so that they will be competing in the collegiate system. But it is obvious that, and should be obvious to all of Trinidad and Tobago, that these two swimmers have enormous potential. And, with the necessary and right and appropriate support, they will probably build on the work done from the pioneers, the George Bovell, the Dylan Carter, where we have shown that in the sport of swimming, we are capable of competing at the world level, just as we have shown in cycling and track and field. And, it's also, and that's one of the things that I have no regrets with the vision in the beginning of going after that Trinidad and Tobago can go after the Commonwealth Youth Games. Because amongst other things, we had the world-class facilities. But we needed to show those world-class facilities on an international and global level, in this case, the Commonwealth Games, and give our youth the opportunity of home court advantage and also boost our sports tourism aspirations. And it was also, the emancipation and the steel pan was central and core. So, there are a lot of positives coming out of it, notwithstanding the challenges coming after COVID, the economic and financial challenges, etc. And it's not over yet. I think that we have a real opportunity and realistic opportunity to add to that medal count in cycling today and on the track. And I must also mention that the champion of Team TTO for this game is world champion, our world 2013 world champion, J. Hugh Gordon. So in many ways, it has been an opportunity for the youth and young people of Trinidad and Tobago to shine. And I'm elated and delighted that they have grasped the opportunity.
Nicholas Paul is also doing very well.
Beg pardon, sir?
I said Nicholas Paul is also doing very well.
Yes, of course, and you know, as we prime for Paris 2024, there are some encouraging signs. We just need to continue to support through the ups and downs. You know, and of course, the attention will focus come the 12th of August, because the closing ceremony of the 7th edition of the Commonwealth Youth Games will come to a close. The attention will then shift to the World Championship track and field in Budapest, the Pan Am Games in Santiago, Chile in November, and then all eyes then focus on Paris 2024 next year. So, notwithstanding all the gloom and doom, there's a bright light in the tunnel. And as I said, I urge Tobago to go out and support. Remember, the Commonwealth Youth Games is ages 14 to 18, and that's an important age group. You know, and this is also the Commonwealth Year of the Youth.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Brian, thanks a lot.
very much. Thank you very much.
Before you go, Brian, what do they have on the schedule for today and tomorrow?
Today is, as I said, the cycling
Right.
and track and field here in Trinidad.
Right.
And in Tobago, you have the team sports, because it's the first time that the games are being hosted across 2 islands. Of course, we in Trinidad and Tobago always can be first in many things because of our creativity and innovativeness.
Right.
So in Trinidad and Tobago, that's what I was saying, I'm urging people to go out to the cycling velodrome in Couva, and you have the Hazley Crawford Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And in Tobago, you have the Shore Park facility. And if you want information and further information and details, you go to trinbago2023.com, the website.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Brian Lewis.
You're very welcome.
All right, have a good day. Posted.
Thank you very much.
All the best. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, that was Mr. Brian Lewis speaking with us here this morning regarding the Commonwealth Games.
Tobago Olympic Committee President.
That's correct. That's
Right. So that's some good news to start the day with, you know.
yeah.
Can't help
needed
but smile on your face this morning.
Yeah, needed that this morning.
Yep.
All the negativity that we're hearing, the this, the that. You know, got to start it off. I mean, let me give you a little thing. Rich. You're muted.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
There you go.
And good morning to our listeners, wherever you are.
Thank you so
And
much.
viewers. Obviously, viewers too.
We started with some good news this morning.
Yeah, I was listening to the conversation with Brian.
Good gold and bronze medals. So, and we up to 11 in our medal count now, so we're really happy about that. So, right.
You know,
What's up?
You know, I've never been to that
Aquatic Center.
The aquatic center, or
It is world class.
or the cycling velodrome, so to speak. In
Both very impressive.
Yeah, I've never been to either. I was saying,
I've been to both, and they're both very impressive.
I know Wendell and myself always saying, okay, we have to go to a swim meet and a cycling meet, just to also see the facility too, and we've never done it.
When you walk into them, you feel like you're in a world class center.
Very nice.
Let me put it that way. All right. Do you have papers?
No, I don't.
All right.
I had
Which leaves to
I had
me.
yesterday, but not today.
Right. Excuse me. It is Thursday, the 10th of August, 2023, 6:38 a.m. Let's start with The Guardian Online. Thousands inconvenience as TSTT network disrupted. A picture of Lisa Agar, TSTT's CEO, who put out a voice note yesterday indicating they had some technical trouble. I think just afternoon, most of their services were restored, and I think they gave free something for the rest of the evening. Belmont woman faces murder charge after death of accountant. Former Florida governor insists stand your ground law works. This looks like yesterday's stuff for some reason. Let me scroll down. UNC raises another query over PM's townhouse purchase. EBC gives in to UNC political parties to view counting of special votes. Jack ready to jam Rowley over claims of extradition deal. Integrity Commission, no reason to approach DPP over Rowley. So those are trending stories. Sharon calls for lower VAT, no rise in minimum wage. That's interesting. That might be a good question for this morning. Let me see what the innards of that story say. Right, Chairman of the Confederation of Regional Business Chambers, Vivek Charan, has called on government to consider an adjustment to the value-added tax system as a means to address inflationary pressures. He noted government's inability to consistently pay out returns to business, and this has had an adverse effect on many businesses. So that's the innards of the story. He says he's calling for lowering of VAT with no rise in minimum wage. Interesting proposition there. Let's move now to the Newsday online. Well, B-Mobile network crashes, no mobile internet services. That's yesterday. Ex-Petrotrin worker gets 180 lots of land inefficiencies. AG's ministry training public defenders will improve delivery of justice. Guyana's under 13s beat TNT in bilateral cricket series. TNT under 15 footballers lose again. Did you want to hear that? And UNC activists awaits Integrity Commission's reply on PM's townhouse. Embassies inefficiencies, illegal imports affecting port services. It's going so fast I can't read it. That's the problem here. Trying to get back to the Ember story. Minister of Finance, illegal arms causing cargo delays, says Embers. Inefficiencies and illegal arms causing cargo delays, says Minister of Finance Colin Ember. Let's move now to the Express online for today. And what's trending on the Express? TSTT's outage affects thousands. Triple Trouble Blackman, Nikolai Blackman, completed his Commonwealth Games youth campaign with a perfect round. The TNT star swimmer, yes, this deserves reading the whole story, added the men's 50 meters freestyle gold to his collection at the National Aquatic Center yesterday. There was double delight for the home crowd as Zarek Wilson touching the wall third for a complete set. Gold, silver, and bronze. Blackman clocked 22.36 seconds for the swim, while Wilson bagged the bronze in a personal best time of 22.95 seconds. Silver went to Bahamian Marvin Johnston in 22.54 seconds. So, I mean, our youth team has done us really, really proud. I'll continue to do us really proud, I should say, at the games. And also, TNT is looking for another medal from, of course, Nicholas Paul, who's abroad, also representing the red, white, and black. Moving on, Commission wanted law fix. The Integrity Commission has disclosed since February 2022. It recommended to the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley-led Cabinet, that there is need to fix or amend. Let me go into that story a bit more. The Integrity in Public Life Act to make failure to disclose information in Form B an offense under the Act. The Commission made a recommendation to fix the law, having realized that no action can be taken against anyone who fails to declare their properties on Form B. However, there's been no response to date. That's a potential question this morning. And what else is happening? Ember and Central Bank defend Guardian Holdings. Stay tuned for minimum wage update. And St. Joseph teen missing. No government plans for Republic Financial Holdings takeover. And the state appeals to provision orders for heliport migrants. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Thursday, the 10th of August, 2023.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into this morning's poll, Let me acknowledge some viewers on YouTube. Slick Money Grip, good morning. Cassie, Rena Budu Jennings, Brenda Isaac, saying congratulations to our boys. Dave SN Singh.
I'm seeing an unverified story online, one of the online news portals, and I guess I said unverified, that 2 gunmen got the surprise when the men went to a bar, Red Hill in Dalmody, shortly after 9 last night, announced a holdup, and a man who is a legitimate firearm owner whipped out his gun and shot both of the men, killing one. Quote unquote, the headline of the story is, licensed firearm owner empties his clip on bandits killing one. So we try to verify that story for you later on this morning.
Yeah. Congratulations to our superheroes, says Ray Scorpion Pepper. Good morning. Dave S.N. Singh has a message for you, Paul. All right. And let's get the results of our morning poll. Let me just do a fresh. I'm sure I got more votes. Yeah, let's check here. We did indeed. Why are the results not coming up? Right. Oh, we did get a lot of votes. Our poll yesterday. Do you agree with the Prime Minister's opinion that Jack Warner's return to politics is to strike a deal to avoid extradition? You voted online, and 69%, 69, said yes, that they agree with the Prime Minister's opinion.
He provided documented proof that he did declared, didn't he? It's all over the papers yesterday. So
yeah, I know.
There you
Social.
go.
All right, let's get into this morning's poll, gentlemen.
I know you were suggesting the VAT issue as a possible poll, whether the government should consider reducing VAT as an alternative.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. According to Vivek Charan from the Confederation of I think businesses in Central or Scoover area. So that should government consider reducing VAT? Would that be the question?
Yeah, should government consider reducing VAT? Is she saying that that is an alternative to
raising the minimum wage? Yeah, it's he. Yeah, it's a he. Vivek is a he.
All right.
Right?
Okay. So, yeah. So should government consider reducing VAT?
Yes or no? 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Via YouTube, you can send us yes or no. Also on our mobile app and our website at power102fm.com. All right. Once again, our poll.
Yeah, should government consider reducing VAT? Is it as an alternative to raising the minimum wage, or we just leaving it as?
We just leave it as that, yeah.
And just really as reducing VAT. Should government, in light of the economic climate, consider reducing VAT across all products in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah,
that was the suggestion coming out of the business community yesterday, especially as they don't get back their VAT returns in time.
That's part of the cited problem too.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. So should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our poll this morning. What says you?
All right. Good morning to Mr. Carapo. Rampage, good morning. Sam. Dennis of Dago, good morning. Great work by our youth at the Carifta Commonwealth Games. Good morning to you. All right. Winston Jones, good morning to you as well on YouTube. Oh, there's Wendell. Morning, Wendell. All right, well, Wendell fixes his issues. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve. My answer is no. Government should put things in place and refund back the people their money. No reduce.
All right, Dinsley, thank you.
Yes, morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Wendell.
I woke up late, and well, I said, okay, let me just jump in when I get some time. So here I am, happy to be in the land of the living. Today is what? August what? 9th?
10.
August 10th.
Is it the 10th?
Yeah.
Is it 9th?
Happy birthday to Richard Young, by the way. Today's Richard Young's birthday.
All right.
Yeah.
I know I have birthdays this week, but I didn't think they were here already.
All right. Miss Ingrid says absolutely yes to the poll. Thank you so much, Miss Ingrid, out in Tucson, Arizona.
So should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? This is a suggestion coming out of one of the members of the business community, more so in light of the fact that they don't get their VAT returns on time. So should the government consider reducing VAT and also...
You mean reducing it further?
Well, reducing it from the 12.5%.
Right, okay.
And across all items, and in light of the economic situation, and I suppose they were suggesting it as an alternative. The sense I
To
got
raising the minimum wage.
to raising the minimum wage to reduce VAT.
But you got
And
the
also
impression,
like that.
you got the impression though from Minister Imbe yesterday that stay tuned for what the government will decide in terms of the minimum wage. You got the impression that that is being considered.
Yes, you did.
Well,
Yeah.
the Minister of Labour has said an announcement will be made soon regarding the minimum wage anyway. So,
Yeah.
so and we don't really hear often from the Minister of Labour.
No, you don't.
So, I mean, when he spoke, I said, oh, there he is.
probably one of the most under the radar ministers of labor we've ever had. And he survived COVID without one call for his removal.
Mr. Carapo says no to the poll. All right. Should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? 222-8255, 866-525-1099 on YouTube, mobile app, and website. You can respond yes or no to that question. Should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? All right. We want to hear from you. Give us a call. You have 8.5 minutes.
I seen a YouTuber asking for you to give a brief synopsis of your experience as a senator. What is that about? Just so?
Why not? People want to know.
So Winston Jones is saying no to the poll. Mo Gaines is saying yes to the poll. That's more suitable than raising the minimum wage. Slick Money Grip also says yes.
Modern day Joseph said no.
What says you, caller? Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
That is not a bad idea. I'll say yes.
All right.
Morning.
All right.
Good morning, my dear.
That's the first thing you want, Lord.
Pardon me?
That's the first thing you want, Lord. You usually prefer things going in the opposite direction.
You see, you don't believe you alone. It's too early out.
What's you want that? A higher voter turnout? Is that what you want?
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Brandy. Yes.
All right, Brandy. Thank you so much. Ms. Maloney also says yes. Josie Richardson says yes. Julia Samantha says yes. All right, thank you so much.
Harper, you need to explain your question. How does that impact the employees? Which one? The minimum wage raising or the VAT reducing?
Susie B says yes to the poll. Thank you, Susie B. What does the B stands for? The B in a bonnet. All right, and give us a call. Let us know what's happening.
So should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? It's a suggestion coming out of the business, one of the members of the business community, and also as a consideration instead of the minimum wage. But we're just simply asking whether they should consider reducing that. Eastern Alexander also says yes. on our YouTube voters who are very active this morning.
Well, I discovered this yesterday, you know, Richard, that you could actually see the comments. Remember, I keep asking you all, how are you all seeing the comments?
Yeah.
And I discovered yesterday that there is a way, when you reduce the screen way over on the right side, you can actually pull up comments. Because mine was on private chat. Don't ask me why. But I found this out yesterday, that you actually seen who commented on YouTube. Yeah.
Stretch says, haven't they done that before from 15% to 12.5%? So my poll answer is no. Thank you, Stretch.
Yeah, it
What are the
was
implications for that?
on certain items at one time.
The implication is government will be making less from that mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, it's either you make less or you spend more. It's not, when they spend more if they raise the minimum wage?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, not only government, private sector too will be
Private
spending more
sector
for
too,
operational
yes.
costs. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not only government if the minimum wage is raised.
Yeah. Maybe they
But
can
then,
find a way to marry both. Maybe they can find a way to marry both. Because the minimum wage proposal from the unions is 30%. That sounds like much. From
You mean
$17.5
$30?
to $30.
$30. Move it to $30, not
$30,
30%.
sorry, $30, $17.5 to $30. That's their proposal. That mightn't be feasible, but
Well, the state's cost will go up, private sector cost will go up. Yeah, there's some suggestions that it may mean people getting laid off or reduced hours.
Yep,
That's
probably
kind
what
of
it
thing.
means.
All right. We do have a call, gentlemen. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen.
No? All right. Thank you.
Did they propose how low the VAT should go? Did they give a percentage?
No.
No.
Miss
This is
Maloney.
from
Miss Maloney is saying, but Miss
Chairman of the
Maloney didn't
Confederation of
Did Miss
Business,
Maloney vote before?
Regional Business Chambers, Vivek Sharon.
One of you all will have to explain what you said because both of you all were speaking at the same time.
They did not give a specific number for the suggested reduction in VAT.
Okay.
Susie B says yes. Good morning. Yes to the poll. Miss Maloney said yes. I think you voted before.
I did, Miss Maloney.
We voted already, didn't she?
Eastland Alexander says yes. Rena Bulu
No.
Jennings says yes. DJ Ray says yes. All right. Get those calls going. Should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago?
I'm seeing Edwin Marshall also saying yes to the poll on YouTube. So should the government consider reducing VAT in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our poll this morning. What says you?
What effect, Harper is asking, what effect will that have on employees? I guess they will pay less for whatever they
you'll
pay.
have more your ability to spend, you'll have more disposable income.
Yeah.
The cost of everything will go down slightly.
Yeah.
Depending on how much, if it is reduced, it's reduced by.
Yeah. You know, the groceries will come up our way to keep it up. Because did they ever reduce their prices based on the shipping costs going down the other day? Remember?
No.
That whole thing? No. They've not done it. Even though we were told that eventually it will happen. They're going to find a way to keep the price up, you know?
The response is usually there are other costs associated that have not been reduced.
Well said, Paul.
And we've been absorbing the increases.
You know it well.
And not passing it on to our loyal customers. So that's why it's not one factor that contributes to your costs. So while shipping costs may have gone down, other costs, freighting costs may have gone up.
I feel like if we just listen to Rajiv Dipti, yes.
Ingrid Adams says yes. She says, good morning, everyone. Yes to the poll.
But as shipping costs go up, your price go up, eh? But when shipping costs come down,
Oh, yes.
myriad and varied reasons why the price of goods and services. No, here the other one. Here the other one. Those goods and services were paid for the previous shipping costs.
Yes. That's the first thing we'll cover.
Always, they always have it. They have it on their sides.
Never fail. Never fail.
Oh no. Never fails. You understand? Yeah, you might get a reduced cost on old stuff and thing.
Yeah.
Like what did yesterday? What the minister showed us yesterday?
The expired
Pleasure Hammer.
Pleasure Hammer. You might get a reduced cost on Pleasure Hammer.
Pleasure Hammer might go up. Not down.
The cost of Pleasure Hammer may go down because it's nearing expiration.
What's the other one? Black Ants something? What is?
I find you've taken good notes, sir.
But I couldn't miss those names. They were kind of very obvious. Pleasure Hammer and Black Ants. I can't remember what was it. Richard, what was the other one? Black Ants what?
They have plenty. There's one called Viagra that all of you all know in this group. And there's also horny goatweed, which Steve is a big fan of.
But I get the horny goatweed through the Rude Boy. I like Rude Boy. I've acquired a taste for Rude Boy, and that has horny goatweed in it. So I drink that.
Has it worked? Too much information for us on this Thursday morning.
I'm playing with a cricket team, right? Where there's a doctor. I don't think he'll mind me calling his name. His name is Dr. Neil Singh. Man, he offering everybody all different colors. Yes, all them fellas and his Gabriel kicks in the chat.
All right. Well, let's get into our major news, gentlemen. Of course, we'll have our guest coming up right after news. Political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith. Let's get into it if he is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
TSTT explains as unexpected outage affects thousands of customers. Finance Minister says HSF stands at $5.6 billion. The UNC welcomes the EBC's change of position on witnessing of special voter ballots and at least 36 killed as flames sweep through Maui Islands, Hawaii. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. Good morning. An unexpected circumstance which went on until 11 a.m. on Wednesday is the reason being given by telecommunication provider TSTT for the network interruption which affected landlines, internet and mobile customers in Trinidad and Tobago. Chief Executive Officer of TSTT, Lisa Agard, in a voice note on Wednesday, said the incident is an isolated occurrence and should not have happened due to several backup plans the company has in place.
We unfortunately encountered an unforeseen network interruption which affected landline, internet and mobile services to customers in parts of Trinidad and Tobago. The disruption was triggered by an unexpected circumstance which regrettably persisted until approximately 11 a.m. We acknowledge and deeply apologize for the impact this disruption had on our customers' connectivity and your daily routines.
Ms. Agard said internal engineers addressed the problem and the company apologized to customers for the inconvenience and distress caused by Wednesday's failure. TSTT has decided to give customers free data for the rest of the day yesterday.
This incident stands as an isolated occurrence which ought not to have happened because of the several backup plans that we have in place. We immediately dispatched our internal engineers as well as engineers from our vendors, and we were able to isolate and fix the problem. We extend our sincere apologies for the inconvenience and distress caused by this morning's failure. We thank our customers for their patience and continued support.
$5.6 billion is the current net asset standing of the country's Heritage and Stabilization Fund. The HSF has no investments in NCB Jamaica or its subsidiaries and is not allowed under the rules which govern the operations of the fund. Minister of Finance Colm Imbert provided the update during a news briefing held on Wednesday, adding the fund is performing well and has not suffered any loss.
There are taxation guides published by all of the leading auditing firms I have with me. For example, EY's Worldwide Estate and Inheritance Tax Guide, and in this document it will tell you all the countries in the world that have inheritance tax and estate tax, a wealth tax, and so on. This is 2023 guide. Trinidad and Tobago is not in there. Trinidad and Tobago will never be in there. There will never be an inheritance tax in Trinidad and Tobago under this government.
Mr. Imbert said the government has no plans to introduce a 25% inheritance tax, as has been alleged by the opposition United National Congress. He said under this ruling administration, there will be no such tax. The finance minister also cited several taxation guides published by auditing firms around the world and noted this tax is not mentioned in such a document.
It is a basic principle that the parties should be able to view the ballot as the boxes are opened and then they're sorted. So we welcome, good sense prevailing.
There are taxation guides published by all of the leading auditing firms I have with me. For example, EY's Worldwide Estate and Inheritance Tax Guide, and in this document it will tell you all the countries in the world that have inheritance tax, an estate tax, a wealth tax, and so on. This is 2023 guide. Trinidad and Tobago is not in there. Trinidad and Tobago will never be in there. There will never be an inheritance tax in Trinidad and Tobago under this government.
The opposition United National Congress has welcomed the decision of the Elections and Boundaries Commission to reverse its decision and allow it to witness the sorting of special voter ballots on Friday at the EBC head office. On Tuesday, UNC called on Chief Elections Officer of the EBC, Fern Narcis Scope, to reverse her decision, adding the senior official communicated a decision to not allow the UNC to witness the sorting of these special ballots via telephone to the political party on Tuesday. Public Relations Officer of the UNC, Dr. Kirk Mayhew, speaking with the media, said the EBC decision is a good one, describing it as a basic principle which should be carried out.
It is a basic principle that the parties should be able to view the ballot as the boxes are opened and then they're sorted. So we welcome, good sense prevailing. Unfortunately, we had to apply pressure. So that means we're going to have to continue to do so. Courts have ruled in the past, for example, in the 2015 elections, when the EBC illegally extended voting times without proper notification, etc. We have to be looking at these things.
A file is before the Director of Public Prosecutions pertaining to a particular herbalist in Trinidad and Tobago. Evidence surrounding this individual's operation has been obtained since November 2018. Confirmation of this came from Minister of Health Terence Deyalsingh during the Power Breakfast program on Power 102 Digital on Wednesday. Minister Deyalsingh said this is the first time such an action was taken and he will ensure the country's interest is protected. He did not disclose the name of the person in question, adding this was done to ensure the case does not collapse before a court of law.
We collected the evidence in November of 2018 on one particular individual. We sent the file to the DPP, and that's where it is, because we took it very, very seriously.
Would you care to share the name of the individual?
No, because when this goes to a court of law, it must not be said that the Minister of Health said X, Y, and Z, and the case collapsed. They are not pharmacies, and I don't want to say much because of my job is protecting the public's interest. For the first time, a Minister of Health sent a file to the DPP on this issue in November of 2018.
Minister Deyalsingh said he's received some backlash for this stance in this matter.
And pharmacists are angry with me personally. They say, how could I, as a pharmacist, do this to my fellow brothers? And they say everybody wants corruption in this country to be addressed, but leave my part alone. Fix everything else. Fix the corrupt practices everywhere else, but leave my sector alone. So drugs that are approved by Chemistry, Food and Drugs and signed off by myself are gazetted. So it's in the public domain.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. At least 36 people have died as fast-moving wildfires tear through the Hawaiian island of Maui, according to officials. The deaths in the city of Lahaina, the island's main tourist destination, came as strong winds from a distant hurricane fanned the flames. The fire is one of several ongoing blazes that have burnt entire neighborhoods to the ground. Thousands of people have been forced to evacuate their homes, and a state of emergency has been declared. A huge search and rescue operation is underway, with some people still unaccounted for. 5 evacuation shelters have been opened on Maui, and officials earlier said they were overrun with people. The island is a popular tourist destination, and visitors have been urged to stay away. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy intervals with few isolated showers interrupting generally fair, hazy, and at times breezy conditions. There is a low to medium chance of the isolated heavy shower or thunderstorm. Mostly fair but hazy night. Gusty winds and street flooding can occur in the event of heavy showers or thunderstorms. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it's 27 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 29 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, TSTT explains as unexpected outage affects thousands of customers. Finance Minister says HSF stands at $5.6 billion. The UNC welcomes EBC's change of position on witnessing of special voters' ballots, and at least 36 killed as flames sweep through Maui Islands, Hawaii. I'm Avril Sintelbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
That's right. 12 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. Of course, you can join her again at 8 o'clock for our news brief, and then again at noon with Sir Charles for our major news. Quickly, let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise within San Fernando. I got no problems to tell you about. Slow going as you leave San Fernando to Claxton Bay on the Solo Rivulet Road, heading to California, Point Lisas. That's heavy. And then Freeport to Sugar Guanas. A bit of volume. As usual, nothing causing that traffic, but as usual. Leaving Grandy on that Valencia stretch, you've got some volume traffic again from Trin City towards Paja Yui, and it's pretty much clear until you get to about Swim Call area as you head into Port of Spain. Okay? Nothing to tell you about in Lady Young. Got a little construction happening by on Western Main Road by Kappa Drugs. Wassa was doing some work. And of course, I think that's all rectified out. Nothing on Amaraval, nothing out of Dago. All right. All right, gentlemen, let's see. Milicia Nelson, Arthur, good morning to you. Brian Marcel, Lando, morning. Wayne B says yes to the poll. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only new one I have. Nothing across here. No, nothing across here.
Good morning, Gerard Darlington. Of course, he also is of the view that that businessmen will not reduce their prices, not carry their prices down to suit the VAT, which is what Paul Richards exposed so very eloquently just now, the responses of the Supermarket Association. Paul could not have said it better, because that's exactly what you'll hear.
I was being facetious, sir. Remember that, please.
We know you were being facetious, but so very correctly facetious.
The results of the poll.
All right, so the results.
That government should consider reducing VAT. We had 22 people voting in the allotted time. 17 of you said yes, they should consider reducing VAT. 5 of you said no. And of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, throughout programming, and we give you the final result tomorrow morning, which will be Friday. Which we
Friday.
With a big smile on our faces.
Let's do that again. Good morning to you, Mr. Gary Griffith, political leader of the NTA. Good morning to you. How are you?
But you wearing PDP colors today?
Never. Good morning, gentlemen.
That looked like PDP. Paul, in your colors are you in PDP colors?
I'm going to take it off here.
Please don't. Please don't. Please, but we might get 1,000 more views, People logging on to see Gary Griffith. Take it off. I don't think in your present condition you need to do that. Wait until your meniscus heal fully and then you can train again and then you can.
Hey, I lost 17 pounds walking and there's one thing I've been successful at. 17 pounds walking.
So you only have 35 more to lose.
32. Don't exaggerate.
This walking really makes you lose weight, yeah? But it's good for you. Politics is good for you in that aspect. That walking about, it's good for you.
Well, if it is there's something called reincarnation and I'm a politician in the next life, I want to be a politician in Barbados where all the land flat.
Yeah.
Because in Trinidad, oh gosh, it's Paramin, it's Calvary.
And then if you don't walk with your candidates, nobody coming out to greet them. They're coming out because you're there. So you have to walk.
Well, yeah, that is true. But the good thing is that they said in all those places when they've never seen a political leader be PNM for 60 years in any of those places. So interesting.
You had to have a comeback.
That's the PNM area.
You had to have a comeback.
We had a bet on earlier this morning, Gary Griffith, that you could get through the next 45 minutes without saying Keith Rowley.
And you just lose it already.
Okay,
no, you didn't say political leader. You didn't say.
Let's say Mr. Landit. Okay.
But Gary Griffith, I want to start off this morning because I won't take up too much of your time, but there is something that happened on the political platform that disturbed me no end. And I have to say that based on all the years that I've known you, I didn't expect it coming from you. And that was your attack on Minister Marvin Gonzalez, and I'm going to call his name because you called his name, Minister Marvin Gonzalez, concerning his presumed sexuality. I didn't like it at all, and I didn't expect it from you. And I think you owe him an apology. Jack Warner did it and got away with it, and I didn't expect any different from Jack Warner. But honestly, I didn't expect it from you, and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, well,
so I have to get that off my chest earlier.
Yeah, no problem. Dan, definitely you're 100% incorrect. At no time did I even allude to anything like that. What I said is that Marvin Gonzalez, he started with speaking about my political party.
I don't want to repeat it, no.
No, God, I'm not. I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. And it reminds me of the same thing. When people look to, when politicians make a comment, people deliberately turn it in one certain direction to benefit themselves. It reminds me when I said anybody who murders someone in cold blood, anybody who rapes a minor, I see them as a cockroach. And people in the PNM deliberately say, Gary said black people are cockroaches, which was a lie. I have never said that. What I said is just somebody rapes a minor, if somebody kidnaps someone, they are a cockroach. And you deliberately turn it into that to benefit yourself. Kamala Persad-Bissessar said, empty the clip, you automatically feel that she's trying to say that when you shoot someone, you must finish them off. She never said that. Empty the clip could very well be when several people invade your home, you have to fire as many rounds as possible to be able to suppress them, to give you a fighting chance, which is why I lifted the ammunition from 25 to 50. This is no different. Marvin Gonzalez jumps up to start saying that the NTA is nothing more than a family planning association. He drew first blood. And what made it? And so he continued to give false information based on hearsay. So what I said is that Marvin Gonzalez reminds me so much of a song, because one of my favorite singers is Marvin Gaye, because he had this song, I heard it through the grapevine. I said he reminds me a lot about Marvin Gaye because of the song that he had, I've heard it through the grapevine. If you decide to put it into that means your mind is a little warped. Because I was speaking about Marvin Gaye, the singer, who with the song, I heard it through the grapevine. That is what I said. I never said anything other than that. So if you think that, Wendell, your brain needs a little bit of cleaning.
Clever attempt, but I'll leave it right there.
No, it's the same thing about cockroaches. It's the same thing about MTD clip. It is the typical PNM propaganda. Take someone's sentence and deliberately turn it in one direction in the hope that you can trigger a response to get certain people to go against you. It's not working again, Wendell. That thing is not working anymore.
Okay. All right.
Gary, good morning. What is the... because the election is coming up on Monday, it's a couple of days away, and your party has been launched in a big way. I think even one of your greatest adversaries, Mr. Alexander, earlier on in the week said you're getting a lot of press. I think a lot of that has to do with your national profile, so the party has benefited from that. What is the NTA's mandate in this election? And I heard on several of your comments on your platforms, you said that when we are elected, suggesting that you have plans for further than the Monday local government election. What is the NTA's mandate? What is the NTA about?
It is definitely about what the country has not seen for the last 8 years, which is good governance. And I am not here to try to give the song dance, which I've heard other political leaders try, stating that we are going to do this and we are going to fix your box train and fix your roads. That is what you usually have. What I am promising is accessibility, and sometimes people just want that. I have walked the length and breadth, as I was explaining to Wendell, from Scorpion and Caranage, Waterhole and Cocorite, Bagatelle, Sealots, Laventille Road, Aruka, Trincity, Macoya, throughout Point Fortin, throughout Arima, and everywhere that I have gone, especially in that east-west corridor, apart from the fact that there's been an absence of actually serving persons, inclusive of local government, a void of leadership. So yeah, as I mentioned, when they saw me, they said it's the first time in those places they've ever seen a political leader, even Sealots and all of that. They've ever seen a political leader in that area. And that's supposed to be PNM country. And the councillors, Bar Wendell and a couple others, they have never seen the councillors after 4 years. And that says a lot. So what I want to give the assurance is that our job is to make sure we're accessible. It's the same thing I did as Commissioner of Police when I made sure that every single person can contact me if they want. And that is what I think the country needs, to make sure that when you vote for someone, they're accessible. So we can blame you, we can complain about something. And we intend to put the same models that I use. I heard a political leader earlier this week, gentlemen, speak about, well, Gary's a one-trick pony. And that is where I beg to differ. Because as a commissioner of police, the same way I was able to transform the police service by forming a good team. That's what the NT intends to do. Form a team of the best minds available to have a roadmap towards the transformation of Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister used that word transformation 8 times in his last meeting. He understands the importance of it. And so when you speak about Gary Griffith, it's not about me fighting crime. As a commissioner of police, you and a Minister of National Security, leading 20,000 persons or 7,000 based on the positions that I had, 117 buildings, $2 billion in trying to balance. You have to deal with fiscal management, you have to deal with human resource management, emotional intelligence, strategic leadership, organizational transformation. So the same way we were able to transform the police service, by using principles of leadership, accountability, management, and measurement of performance, we intend to do the same thing to transform Trinidad and Tobago in every arm of the public service to serve the country better.
Why then would you join with the UNC if that's the NTA's thing? Why would you have joined with the UNC, who you knew very well did not support you, and of course you fired you, and all the other things that they would have said? Why would you have joined with the UNC then to achieve this?
Well, just to jump in on that question, Gary, because of course I follow a lot of your posts and stuff that come in, and oftentimes you've posted up polls that showed that the NTA by itself was doing pretty well in terms of those Instagram polls in comparison to UNC and the PNM. And NTA had a considerable lead. So connected to Wendell's question, if I may just tack that on, if that polling is to be believed, it clearly shows that NTA can go it alone, if you are to believe that poll.
Yeah, and again, there are polls and there are polls. Any poll that is done on social media or online, it is going to be flawed. So for example, if 95.5, which is a PNM station basically, if they do a poll, Keith Rowley is going to win by 98%. There are other stations that are heavily UNC, affiliated. So some of the polls, so if you have a poll with Inch and Ishmael, which is basically anti-government, you're going to get it skewed to the point that it's going to be very heavily biased towards the UNC and the NTA. And vice versa. So several of those polls, I don't take that as so because it says 62% are going to vote for the NT or 58%. No, I am very logical. I'm very tactical. There was one scientific poll done so far, gentlemen, one, and that was that poll. They don't go public, and you all know that those pollsters very well, very well. You all know them. You all know the employers very well, and that scientific poll had a margin of error of 5%, because when you do, and that is sad, we have a national election, Pablo, and not one media house did a scientific poll, which is amazing. But the one media house that did a very scientific poll had PNM 45%, UNC 41%, the NTA 11%, PP 0.3% or whatever, PDP 0.2%. But and again, it is almost identical to 2007, Wendell. So in 2007, the COP got about 13%. So the fact being is, again, if PNM goes against UNC in a two-horse race, PNM will arguably win. When you add the 42 to the 11, you defeat the PNM. The maths is there. So when you going to Wendell's point now, it happened in 1986, it happened in 1995, it happened in 2010, general, 2010 local government. Every single time there's a coalition, the PNM is defeated, 100% of the time. Every single time there's not a coalition, the PNM wins, other than one occasion when that government lasted a few months. So that answers your question, Wendell. The fact of the matter is that people complain about coalitions. There are over 80 countries in the world. Almost half of the countries in the world had or have coalition governments. Many have worked, some have not. Governments standing on their own, many have worked, some have not, inclusive of this one. The problem in Trinidad and Tobago is our constitution is so flawed that it does not allow a third party to have any type of proportional representation. So whether it was in 1981 with 91,000 with the ONR, 1991 with 127,000 with the NAR, 2007 with 147,000 with the COP, we changed the letters, but it's the same third bridge constituency.
So let me respond to that. The NAR was decimated after 86 election. They were decimated when they ended up back with 2 seats, right? The COP was decimated they decimated even as they joined with the UNC, right? This no longer existed. So much it's not as the Congress of people anymore, it's the Congress of the person. How could NTA now, with all these proposals and all these lofty aims and objectives, decide now for the sake of defeating the PNM, because that's what I'm hearing, only to beat the PNM, for the sake of beating the PNM, you're going to join with the UNC, who was the main party who decimated those other parties. Right. Why would you want to join with them?
Okay, so
let me just add something to that, Gary. I mean, since your party has been officially launched, there's been a lot of widespread congratulations, and some people have their concerns depending on where you sit in the political spectrum. And to me, one of the strongest points of concern that has been exposed is that very fact that while people who like Gary Griffith and who like what Gary Griffith stood for as Commissioner of Police lauded you for launching a political party, you aligned with a party that you had condemned, a political leader that you had been very derogatory in terms of some statements about her work ethic, etc. And to me, that had been the biggest point of consternation since your party is launched. How do you reconcile that?
Right, sure. So let me go quickly, and it will go in line with completing Wendell's question. So the fact, Wendell, is that if persons want that third constituency to be part of a government, you must form some type of a strategic alliance. It is a fact, whether you like it or not. So when people, and it will go, Paul, in what you have asked, remember an important point. When it is that I operate what is good for the country. I spoke to Keith Rowley first. I spoke to the PNM first, and you forgot that, Wendell, conveniently forgot that part. I went to Keith Rowley and said, I am willing to work with you. I am willing to support you. I'm willing to assist you because you have the most clueless Minister of National Security in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. He doesn't even know his role and function. As a minister, it was the highest reduction in serious crime in 30 years. As the Commissioner of Police, it was the highest reduction in violent crime in 17 years. The country felt safer. Crime was the number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy. I am willing to help you. The man said, no, get away. I don't care. So anybody, hold on, Wendell. Hold on, I'm going to
if you approach a man and say you have the most clueless minister nations, you really expect that?
No. Wait. So, all right. So it goes right back to personality then. So because of, and when I made that offer, had to do with seeing about the country. the country was going down. It was in quicksand from a commissioner in my last year being 342 murders and the country felt safe to within a year over 600 murders and the country has never been washed in blood. It was my right as a patriot. I'm always a patriot more than a politician. I offered it to Keith Rowley. He said, no, get away. So anyone who questions the Transformation Alliance, and that's why I use the word alliance, always is an alliance of minds, regardless of political affiliation. And the hypocrisy of people who are probably in the PNM who have a concern about it. This is the same government where several cabinet ministers presently exist under Keith Rowley that formed the cabal with Patrick Manning to have him removed as from that same cabinet as a minister. And the same Keith Rowley who saw these backstabbers, who threw him out of cabinet, chased him like a dog, he's the one who brought back these same individuals to be his right hand in the same government and the same cabinet. So when you speak about Jack Warner and Gary Griffith, some of these people in PNM must look in the mirror because the same people he speaks to right now that are affiliated to him are those persons who worked and conspired with Patrick Manning to throw him out of the same cabinet.
But the UNC also told you get away when you stood
no,
up.
But the point is, why don't you answer that same question? The point is, if it isn't that Keith Rowley was thrown out by his persons, and then he decided to forget and have bygones and say, look, even though you all conspired with Manning to throw me out of cabinet and treat me like a dog, I still want you now. Let us work together to form and reorganize our party. If that was okay, Rendell, but it's not okay that if there's a difference.
Well, I mean, the issue of politics and politicians has always been strange bedfellows they make, and it switches and turns on the premise of opportunity. What is strategically right? People mix and match. And so you might be in bed with one person today, and all of a sudden it switches to the next.
Well, Richard, and that's the point. And Wendell can't answer that. They kick Rowley out of the bed, and then Rowley brought them back and said, "Come on, them covers right after."
I will concede. I will concede a percentage of your point because you're saying because the person who attacked Dr. Rowley back then was the prime minister, the leader.
No. Yeah, but it
was the leader. Hold on, let me finish. It was the leader. I don't know that the people who he has embraced, who were also in that cabinet, were also all about on platforms ill speaking him. They weren't. They were not. The difference here. And again, as I said, I'm willing to concede a part of your point where people can make up. That's not a problem. I have no problem with it. People can make. So if you decide after Mrs. Prasad Bisesa and them kick you out and say, get away from here, that you want to go back with them, if that's your argument, then I will accept that.
No. Let me just quickly complete the main question with Paul, is that many people said, look, when Gary was there, whether it is true or not, whether it's right or not, 89% of the country wanted Gary to remain to secure the country. There's the vast majority, even actually the PNM diehard person said, listen, we felt safer, you were doing the job, public trust and confidence in the police moved from 14 to 55%, the police was motivated, you're seeing a difference, criminals were being pegged back, you put 100 and stuff plus policies, everything has collapsed, we want you back, we need you, our country is under siege. The only way I can serve those persons, which is that 89%, is to be in a position of authority to serve them. The only way that could be done is to form a strategic alliance with other parties so I will have the opportunity. So to anyone who has a concern, what you're trying to tell me, stay on the hard and fast track and go alone and then lose so that...
Are you saying it's a means to an end?
It is, because the most critical thing, the most fundamental thing in any country, in any society, in any citizen, is your fundamental right to safety and security. So when you hear that other political leader, Gary is a one-trick pony, I have one trick more than him, and I wasn't known as Mr. Expo. But and then he will go crazy after and go on and do a set of videos to attack me, which is what he does.
But do you think that joining with the UNC in that alliance affects brand NTA in any way for some voters?
No, and again, this is what you would have seen. In 1986, when the ONR stood alone, that 91,000 said, no, we do not want to be with the ULF or the PNM. They understood the value. They worked a strategic alliance in the 83 local government. It worked, and it formed something for 86 for NAR. In 2010, I could admit that it was rushed because Patrick Manning did well. He decided to throw a snap election, and because when he started seeing what was happening, this may very well happen after this local government election. If not, we need more. When it says you form a strategic alliance, you need to have a lot of communication, collaboration, and dialogue, and mutual respect. And that is where the difference you're going to get. I think COP fell not because of what the UNC did, but how COP leadership failed to represent those persons of that bridge constituency. And you will see my actions and my personality. It is different. It's not to attack Winston Dukran or Prakash Ramadan or anyone, but my style is going to ensure mutual relationship, mutual respect, and that type of strategic alliance is going. My concept, gentlemen, is when we're in government, I don't care whether you're UNC or PNM, I want the best minds available. There are some people in the PNM I have the world of respect for. I would love to have those persons be part of a united government.
Like who?
I can't do that. They will lose their job because there's a man who's very vindictive. So the Prime Minister...
There are two comments I want you to respond to that the Prime Minister has made, I think, in the last week in his conversations in different locations. One, that Gary Griffith does not want the public to see the report on FULs for several different reasons. He didn't elaborate. And two, that Jack Warner has realigned with the UNC to avoid extradition. I'd like your responses to both those comments, please.
Sure. Well, the first thing you would have realized that I have taken Keith Rowley to court on about 4 occasions and won almost all. And his misinterpretation of the reason behind the court. Now he's attacking the court because if he can't have his way, as Patrick Manning said, he gets totally out of control. So the reason for people who are misinterpreting how a court operates, a court will file injunctions and approve it and block someone when it is that they realize that the constitutional rights of someone have been infringed, when it is that there's a bias, when it is you're attacking the credibility of someone without evidence or fact. And those are the things that's happening. Keith Rowley understood well how he got in the government in 2015 because you type 21 mistakes, call it an email and call it Emailgate, and got the public to believe it. And that is what helped him in 2015. Gary Griffith is not the same person. When it is you decide to bring fake documents to lie, you better come with facts. So what happened is first he started with a Barrington report. The Police Service Commission said emphatically there's no such thing as a Barrington report. One man typing a document out of 1.4 million who has no authority, and you take that to send to Bliss Prasad in the hope that you could amend a merit list, says a lot about the individual and the character of the man who gave the document. He then realized, okay, then there's a Stanley John report. And the Stanley John report said that there's a well-oiled criminal industry that Keith Rowley has used on the platform. And I'll be seeing him in court again. He'll be on the witness stand soon. Because you have a well-oiled criminal industry, but 2 years later, 2 years since you submitted the report, not one person has been arrested for bribery or corruption as it pertains to firearm issue during my period. But for 2 years, but you claim it's a well-oiled criminal industry. You then hire civilians, pay them big money to then probably put what you want them to put, even though the Police Service Commission says, but wait a minute, you're hiring people to do investigations of the police. The court said, on what grounds can you as a politician hire people to be investigators to investigate an arm of the police? But the important thing, Paul, before I finish that, is that what he said is that I will go to Parliament to read it. You know what? Emailgate reloaded. Because Rowley realizes the one place that you can go and lie and not be sued is in Parliament. So I didn't care about the report. Go ahead and see what you have to do in the report. But go out in public, and you go out in public, I will deal with you. Because if it is that you hire 3 civilians and the civilians lie with no intelligence, no evidence, no witnesses, not one person has been arrested, but he knows, Keith Rowley knows, you say the same lie over and over, people will believe it. So what the court said is, don't try that. If this is a report of investigation, it's supposed to go to the police or the PCA or the Police Service Commission. And don't go in Parliament where it is you can lie and with a fake report to smear the character of others and action can be taken. That is my point. You want to say something, even the 3 persons who did the audit, if they name man, let them say it in public and let me deal with you, because that is what they have done. They have lied, gentlemen, 2 years, a well-oiled criminal industry. Not one person, no, not a firearm dealer, not a firearm holder, no civilian, not one of the 7,000 police officers have been arrested for bribery or corruption after the Stanley Johns report under my watch. Because you know what? He probably knows if you say the same lie over and over, people will believe you.
The Jack Warner situation.
The Jack Warner situation, Keith Rowley can give his interpretation. My take on this matter with Jack Warner is that the UNC has arguably about 250,000 supporters. The NTA will have 150,000 odd. After those 400,000, If it is that we are going to reach a point where
When you say the NTA has 150,000 supporters, what's the source of that data?
81 ONR, 91,000, 91
you mean potential supporters?
Potential, yeah, because there's not been any.
You didn't say potential, you said supporters.
Well, the fact is, Paul, is that third constituency, that bridge constituency, continues to grow. That's my point. From 91, 127, 147,000 in 2007.
So you're sure you've captured them?
You can't be sure of anything in life until.
But then you said the statement so definitively, no. So I was wondering what was the data point.
The point being is the third constituency, whether it is the NTA, the ABC, or the XYZ, there's that bridge constituency of people who are not PNM till they're dead and are born a UNC and are going to die.
So the Jack Warner situation.
Right. So the Jack Warner situation, if Jack Warner holds a position of authority in the UNC, then people can come and point fingers at Gary Griffith like, how can you do that? Jack Warner holds no position of authority in the running and the management of the UNC. So the PNM's game plan of saying, because I tell you, the one thing, I worked with Jack Warner in a couple of places. We met 400 people in Lupino, 400 virtually worship the man. They said since he left, there was nothing that has been done by the councillors in Lupino for the last 10 years. The same thing happened when I went to Bonnier, when I went to Aruka, I went to the train line.
There's no doubt that Jack Warner is a very popular person in some quarters in this country. You know, Jack Warner is a very charismatic personality and has done a lot for sport, football in particular, and had been a very productive minister, particularly of works. But the issue is not that or popularity. The issue is the legal issues facing him with the US. That's the issue of we're conflating two different things here. Popularity is one thing, but legal issues is something else.
I know, Paul, but what I'm saying, again, that's my point. So every single person who supports the NT or the UNC, we must do a certificate of character. No, the point being is if they hold no position of authority, but because of his charisma, because of his previous work ethic, because the grassroots in that whole corridor, 95% admire him for what he has achieved. The PNM can't bowl a doostra to point fingers, because if they do that, gentlemen, just give me 1 minute. If you do that, what it is? Why do I see the splint in my old eyes when in the eyes of my neighbor when I do see the plank in my own? Neither Kamala Prasad Vicesso nor myself have ever been investigated by the Integrity Commission on 2 occasions. In either the UNC and the PN and the NTA, we do not have a minister that was actually charged and is still running the campaign for a corporation. We don't have someone who was fired as a minister for questionable behavior, and then you give him a diplomatic position just a few months ago to represent our country. We do not have someone who was actually being investigated under my watch for putting large sums of money and cash into the bank. And I'm told I know that's
Gary. I mean,
wait a minute. We do not have someone.
Well, I wanted to make a point.
There was an intelligence report by special branch of accusation. So my point is, when you look at those things, look at your own before you decide.
My point is, Gary, there is a portion, and hopefully a substantial portion, of Trinidad and Tobago voters that are tired of all of the politicians and leaders with clay feet in this country. And when we see all of these associations mixing and matching from what we may perceive as an opportunistic point of view, there is a group of those voters in Trinidad and Tobago that are saying, where is the transformational leadership that the country needs? Because we're in a global environment and the rest of the world doesn't really care for what they don't care or are not have no business with the politics of Trinidad and Tobago because they're busy moving their countries forward.
Yeah,
you can find fault. You can find fault with the PNM. You can find fault with the UNC, and there are some people who will find fault with you. So when the voters are faced, and you have jaded voters who have been bitten by alliances before and may see this as just another reconstitution of something that they did not work in their interest last time. How can you motivate these? I'm just asking you this question. How can you motivate that group of Trinidadians and Tobagonians that see all politicians in that kind of light? That ultimately the country suffers because everybody ego stands. Everybody has done some sort of things that has besmirched their reputation, and so that they're like, why should I bother?
Or or you could add or willing to sleep with the devil to get in ascendancy, to add to your point. Yeah, and you're correct. And all I could ask the country, judge me by my track record, judge me by my performance, not my deliverables, but my track record based on my ethics. This is a political leader that stood firm and stood on something that caused him to be fired as a Minister of National Security. That hasn't changed. This is a previous commissioner of police that when he was being pressured by politicians to arrest civilians in their homes to breach their constitutional rights, I told him where to get off, and people had a problem with that. So this has been someone, it has not changed. My point being is that if there are persons who may be supporters of other political parties, that does not mean that I have diminished my ethnic principles. And that is the point. So until Jack Warner becomes the deputy political leader or the chairman of the UNC, the man is a supporter of a party. He holds no position of authority. The fear factor, Richard, is that the PNM is pushing this Dustra because they know that Jack Warner has an enormous influence in the grassroots of support. That has nothing to do with him holding a position of authority in a political party. Am I supposed to work with other political parties and make sure there's a certificate of character for every supporter? The answer is no.
So what you're saying is you don't think there's any impact on brand NTA and brand Gary Griffith by having support and working with someone who is of interest to the U.S. authorities? That's what you're saying?
And my point being, again, is that if I have to be selective in working with other political parties based on who supports them, it is going to put me in a position where we will have to go alone, which is what the PNM wanted in the first place. So what they're trying to do is to rub off the shine of that new ball by trying to say Gary Griffith is not all that. Look, he's lying with Jack Warner. That is not, Jack Warner is not part of the NTA1, and he holds no position of authority. My point being is that I'm telling you one thing, because there are persons that I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot from Jack Warner in his work ethic that caused me to be able to be up till 4 o'clock in the morning till 1 a.m. as a commissioner of police for 3 years to serve the country, knowing strategic plannings and so forth to get the job done, which is why I was successful in handling 20,000 persons as security minister and 7,000 as commissioner of police. And that should be the focus. The focus is what I am intent to deliver. Obviously, there's going to be some degree of concern, but as I said,
let's go down the road. 2025 general election. The NTA, well, the ILP no longer exists. I think they were dissolved, and Jack Warner is now back in the UNC. And all these other small parties, the MND, Gavin Nicholas, and all you all come together again and wins a general election. Don't you think that Jack Warner will not take a position? One, and what is the position you will take?
Well, the same position I took as the Minister of National Security. When I stood firm, remember, I stood against live sport. I stood against certain things, anything that I thought was incorrect, I will stand against. And to those persons in that bridge constituency, believe and understand that I would ensure that the type of the type of behavior you'd have seen in our politics, it's going to change. I will stand firm.
So you've already negotiated that you will be the Minister of National Security in a new government?
No, not at all. But it is possible that I should be part of a National Security Council. Who knows what my position would be? And therein lies the problem. That is where the problem took place in the People's Partnership. You're not going to have me or us making decisions and actions without proper dialogue. I do not know what my position could be or what it is going to be. That decision is going to be made.
So let's just go down. Let's just also go down that same road. That Anand Ramlogan is reappointed Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. How is that going to work out?
No, but Wendell, you can't say that. You are just
asking a question. I'm not saying anything. It's a question I'm asking.
But you can't. You see, that is the point. You are asking questions of something that suppose Raja Ali becomes the Minister of National Security for the PNM. What is the logic in the question? Bringing up points of persons who may not be seen as being supportive of the PNM, or who the PNM may not like, or who may be involved in questionable activity. That is, you are speaking about something in 2 years' time. We have not. So, all right, let me give you an example.
I'm going down the same road. I'm going down the same road Richard was going down, just differently. I'm being more direct. In terms of association.
But my point is, suppose in 2 years, Anand Ramlogan is cleared of everything and all wrongdoing. How can I give an answer in 2 years? What you're doing is unfair. You can't ask me what is going to happen in 2 years. Right now, it would be expected that he would not. But so I can't give an answer in what will happen in 2 years.
Well, you're okay with saying that you will be the Minister of National Security.
I'm not. You did. I spoke about when I was minister in 2013, leading 20,000 persons to ensure it was the highest reduction in serious crime. I would be in a position to ensure that this country would be safe. Who knows what that position would be? But
I want to focus a bit on the districts that your candidates are contesting, because we are counting down to a local government election, and how many candidates are being fielded, just to remind us. And why did you choose the particular districts that your candidates are contesting?
Yeah, sure. So there are 31 candidates from the National Transformation Alliance, inclusive of Diego Martin, Port of Spain, Samuel Laventille, Piarco, Tunapuna Piarco, Arima, and also Point Fortin. The UNC, they will have the other 110. It's not much different to 2010, where the COP had about 50 odd out of the 139. The reason why we didn't take others is because of this weird system that Wendell knows about the selection of aldermen, which really and truly is very different. It is crazy. You even reach a point where if a party selects 2 persons in a corporation and there are 14 seats, you have to write down 14 aldermen. We found that out half an hour. And if you don't put down the 14 aldermen, then you cannot get an alderman if you succeed. It makes no sense. It's badly drafted. It was a rush job. I think, however, what we have done is that we have worked in a very strategic manner. Yes, and those 31 seats, Paul, it is probably the hardest seats because that is PNM hardcore areas. People ask, well, why it is we didn't try to require and ask for safe seats. I've never asked for anything in my life that is simple. We wanted to go in the belly of the beast. This was Gary Griffith versus Keith Rowley. And again, from what I have seen in 2010, when those COP voters joined with the UNC voters, Diego Martin Corporation went against the PNM, same thing with Tunapuna, Piarco, same thing with Arima, and same thing with San Fernando. So whereas now it is 7-7, if it goes according to plan, it could very well go back to 11-3. And even with Point Fortin being another avenue, it could be 12-2 best case scenario.
So let's project 2 scenarios. Gary Griffith, scenario 1, Gary Griffith, of his 31 candidates, 15 are successful, 10 are successful, and you gain some leverage on the political scene in Trinidad and Tobago. What is your next step in terms of leverage? And scenario 2, Gary Griffith doesn't do very well. I'm talking about the NT here, of course. And the electorate has said, well, we like you, but not to vote for. What's next? So let's do with one first.
Well, I will put both of them in one. Regardless of the scenario, what we have seen is that the NT has become the vehicle, the engine room for persons in that bridge constituency. This is a party that's just about 8 odd months old. And anytime you could have a political leader of a party that's 60 plus years old, spend 47 of the 55 minutes on a platform and get a meltdown in St. James, and spending most of his time tripping, speaking about a leader of a party 8 months old, we have already stamped our authority, our position in this country. Is it the party or you, though? Because, I mean, you just said it's Keith Rowley versus... Well, Paul, again, and that is I'm glad you said that, because when it was 2010, what was it really? Who it is? It was people voting for Kamala, the Kamala mania, over Patrick Manning. When it
I think it was the prospect of the coalition.
Well, yeah, but there's also a Kamala mania at the time. So, and likewise, so people usually vote for persons based on leadership, based on that personality. And again, as much as you have a party, there obviously will be certain places that you could bring Barack Obama into a hardcore area of another party. He's not going to win. But my point being is that third constituency will always be there. And there is a need for persons to have that opportunity. So this has built a platform towards something bigger, which is the general election. So that platform is there. You would have seen it. And as I said, when you look at the votes in those 31 seats, PNM won every seat by about 400 plus votes. That is a big number when you take the scheme of local government election. You might say 400 as marginal. 400 is about 30% more than the other parties.
It would be remiss of us to have you here and not talk about issues related to citizen security and the stand your ground and the issue of the FUS, which the Prime Minister has indicated had gone under your tenure as Commissioner from X to over 50,000. I think 58,000 is the number indicated. On one hand, the issue of persons being able to protect themselves vis-a-vis Mrs. Prasad Bissessa's comments has received some traction because people are afraid and frightened in a scenario where they don't feel the police service is as effective as it should be. On the other side of that conversation is how many guns is too many guns on the streets legally. I'm talking about legally obtained FULs and persons having the ability to protect themselves when they feel that, well, police can't do it. Your comments on that?
Yeah, when this issue with myself and firearms, that was just one of about 170 things I did to transform the police service. And I have been blamed and criticized for being efficient, for being effective. Commissioners before me and after me, because of their failure to do the job, and they try to use justification, it takes time. 200, 300 odd firearms would be issued annually before me, and the same thing is taking place after me. In my 3 years, I issued 4,500. That 4,500, every single thing that Keith Rowley said has been false, misleading, and very mischievous. Because I issued 4,500 firearms, half of that would have been to law enforcement officials, police officers, prison officers, soldiers, sailors who needed it.
FULs you're talking about.
Yeah. Because we have an outdated system that after there's a threat on you as a police officer or prison officer, you have to leave your firearm in the station and go home, and you can't protect yourself. So half of that was per person. You want to question that? So remaining will be 2,000 civilians.
The suggestion is that the increase in FULs was a business, and I'm putting it out for you to respond to.
And if it was a business, how come after 2 years for a well-oiled industry to be such a criminal enterprise, so well-oiled, that not one person has been arrested after the Stanley John report and after this audit of any such wrongdoing under my watch? In other words, it was a lie. What we have known is that for decades we have heard about this, and what Gary Griffith did is put an FUL card with a chip to monitor. They threw it away because they knew what they were doing. We knew that police officers were in stations holding back people's applications to make sure that they could blackmail and have bribery. Supply and demand is the biggest avenue for corruption. You make it harder for the individual, you force them to pay. What I did was to open it up and to make sure it was available, not giving it away as Keith Rowley lied, because he said we were giving it away.
So, when opening it up, were the checks and balances put in place to ensure that the bribery corruption issue, because you're doing more now in a scenario where in a division or an agency that has been accused of using that mechanism to make money illegally. And now you are not more. So the mechanisms put in place to ensure that with increased granting of those FULs, that persons didn't benefit from bribery, etc.
Correct.
Yeah. So in other words, let me just add to what Paul is saying there. In other words, you're saying that before you came in there, it was in fact well oiled.
No, there were allegations of it being well oiled, and I had to find avenues to pinpoint what was causing it. So what was causing it would have been police officers holding back the applications in stations for years. And that was where the corruption took place. And they were holding it back in whichever station and saying, you have to pay me before it gets upstairs there. I said, you have 3 months, because remember the officers at those areas have to do due diligence, they have to do the background check, they have to go and visit. So they can easily say, well, it's going to take us about 3 years and keep charging persons. I put an end to it by saying after 3 months, you bring it there. And then what also, Paul, is that the 2,000 persons, to show that our system was so comprehensive, we did such a comprehensive background check. More incidents took place before me of negligent discharges, persons losing their firearms and using their firearms in an illegal manner than in my 2,000. Because in all that 2,000, not one was ever lost, not one was ever stolen, not one was used for a crime under my watch, because we had a proper system, and the card with the chip would have ensured we're monitoring the individual, making sure that he will come every year to be tested, to know to use the weapon. And that was the point. And so in that 2,000, it worked. So and out of those 2,000, it was over 50,000 applicants. So 2,000 out of 1.4 million, I think is like 0.15% of the population. And this man has the audacity to say that that means Kamala and Gary want to give a gun to everyone. The hypocrisy adds, when this was the same Keith Rowley that was harassing me to get a dealership license to sell firearms for somebody he knows in Tobago and to bill a range. This was the same Keith Rowley, along with the present Minister of National Security and the previous Commissioner of Police. Between them, they asked for over 70 firearms to give to their friends and family members. So it's okay to give to the rich and famous, but me looking to give firearms to the small man, to the farmer, to the businessman.
Aren't you doing the same thing, Gary, making unsubstantiated and unevidenced comments in terms of what you're saying there? Because you're accusing the Prime Minister of doing that.
Names now? If it's you want me to show you the names of it? You really want to go on that road, Wendell? You want to go on that road? Do you want me to call the names of the people?
I'm just
if
saying.
It's unsubstantiated. Don't call me a liar. You want me to go on the road?
I'm not saying that.
I will tell you names now, you know.
Hold on a second.
Inclusive of ministers who got 2 firearms and didn't pay for it. You want me to call names?
No, you want to get our station in trouble. I'm just saying you're
then don't call me a liar.
one thing and you're doing
basically.
Wendell, he's willing to provide the evidence.
I am giving facts.
Yeah, you don't have to provide it to us here.
Well, if just says unsubstantiated, you can't be half pregnant. Don't call me a liar.
Why don't you release the information to the media?
But I have. But the thing is, the PNM control stations refuse to state that this is a man who told me he wants a firearm dealership for his partner in Tobago to sell thousands of guns. But this is the same man who's concerned about firearms.
So you're saying you release this information to the media and they refuse to publish or broadcast it?
Paul, I've said this numerous occasions and it is ignored because the PNM narrative is Gary want to give out guns to everyone. I just said it, 2,000 firearms out of 50,000 applicants.
You're willing to take some calls? We're going to go for a bit because it's,
2,000 firearms to 50,000 applicants. And this comedian says that is giving out firearms to everyone. He's a hypocrite.
All right, no, I guess this political leader, Gary Griffith, 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255. Please be respectful. Toll free in North Americans, 866-525-1099. Tomorrow, I guess, will be Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley.
Gary, you know the UNC don't have any need for you again with Jack Warner wrong, right? You know that, right? I tell you that already, you know.
Well, if that was your concern, well, then you have nothing to worry about. Why sweating right now?
I'm worried.
Results on Monday. If you're so sure about that.
I do not campaign in St. James West where you have a candidate, but I haven't seen them or heard from them. I wish you, I can't wish you luck because, I wish you luck.
All right. Well, let's grab the calls. Caller, make it short, sweet, to the point. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I would have never I heard this thing about politics and morality of it too, but Mr. Griffith, you make me believe that the kind of ketchup and mustard talk you used to talk, and the kind of thing I hear you say about Kamala Prasad, Mr. in Parliament, or you attend Parliament, and then you yourself on a political platform and say, I work with Patrick Manning, I work with this one, and that is the best Prime Minister. I couldn't believe I hear you saying that. You are the ketchup.
All right. What is your question?
I hear you say that.
Is there a question, sir?
Question.
And the next thing, in that UNC party, Mr. Griffith, I don't see how it could not have been good then and it's so good now to be the vehicle for you to move with. If you have your own party, go with your what? But it wasn't good at all. It's all
right. Thank you, caller.
No.
All right. The typical PNM, they are concerned, they are worried because, as I said, it was okay for several cabinet members who teamed up with Patrick Manning to throw Keith Rowley out of cabinet, and the same Keith Rowley hired these people and worked with them. And then why did it's strange that Wendell and them wouldn't bother to answer that. The fact of the matter is
I conceded that point. I conceded that point.
Well, there you go.
I conceded
All right.
that.
Let's get a question, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Gary Griffith. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm surprised you call it the people that didn't ask the question. Gary Griffith, I heard you say that the Prime Minister had asked you to give one of his family members a FUL permit. In your statement, the FUL permit was granted. I also heard you say that he asked for several ministers. Several ministers has asked, and you have given some of them 2 firearms, so they were granted. So from what you are testifying, the Prime Minister could encourage the Commissioner of Police to do their will.
Okay, that's about the dumbest question I've heard to this whole campaign. One, I never said the Prime Minister asked for his family member. 2, I never said the Prime Minister instructed. So, I mean, I've heard some stupid questions, but you just stopped it there. The point being is that if a Prime Minister makes a request, it is his right to make a request. As Minister of National Security, I would have sent dozens of requests to Stephen Williams because it will come from the business sector, writing to me and so forth. The fact, what I'm showing is the hypocrisy. So because Keith Rowley will ask me for firearms, the same persons who are the same names must have the same due diligence, the same background check, because it is at the end of the day, when I sign that, I become responsible. So no politician could direct me, brother. You must understand and speak and understand English. What I said is that why is it okay that you can make a request for 70 firearms for people close to you? I never said I approved all. You must listen first before you get politically blinded. What I showed is that if it's okay that politicians can make a request for dozens of firearms, why the small man, the businessman, the farmer, the fisherman can't make a request and have it equally recognized for them to get a firearm? It must not be, firearms must not be.
Do you think that that whole firearms issue should be the province of a separate unit that has nothing to do necessarily with the police?
No, you see, Richard, and that is the point. I put 14 policies to put an end to the corruption. Because I affected big business in the police service, certain persons had the ears of politicians and they misled them. Stanley John's report was littered with, it is alleged, it is rumored, I have heard. And Stanley John will also go on a witness stand shortly and say, you are saying it's a well-oiled enterprise? Show how. Call names, bring evidence. There wasn't any. What I did was put systems in place. I was the commissioner, the only commissioner in our history that kept telling people, if you have any evidence of wrongdoing, blackmail, corruption, report it not just to the police, but to the PCA. I was the only one. What they tried, the PNM is very good. Huh? You turn on something and you lie constantly, you hope that people will blindly believe it. How could we say that there's an issue with firearms? What is the evidence? Who are the witnesses? Who has been charged?
Gary, let me ask this question.
All right, let's take this call here. We have calls, gentlemen.
Yeah. When you were commissioner of police, did such reports come to you, and was any action taken against anybody?
Yeah, I got reports, and then I will launch sting operations. I will use the special operation response team that was instrumental to stop kidnappings, human trafficking, home invasions that the PNM decided and to shut down with lies to say that the US they wanted a vetted unit. The SWAT was the only vetted proper operational unit that the PNM shut down. And when we did those sting operations, we will pinpoint certain police officers. But again, there's a difference with intelligence and evidence. Immediately as I pinpointed officers who may be inclined to do something, I will remove them immediately from that system, because that system was being carefully monitored to stop that.
So no convictions came out of it at all?
A few, about 2 or 3 persons. We did sting operations with police officers going by their car.
They were charged? They were charged? And they were charged?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a call waiting. Go ahead, Steve, please.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for holding. Question.
Good morning. Good morning to the Power Breakfast family. Good morning to the Power Breakfast crew. Good morning, Mr. Gary Griffith. I have to make 2 comments, which is like a question also. And
Go ahead.
Don't get offended, because it seems like you're getting hot under the collar.
Yeah, question, caller.
Wait, could you guys give me 1 second, please? All right.
We have lots of calls coming through. I just want a question, so go ahead.
Get interrupted. I can't make my statement. When Jack Warner and Kamala Assad-Bissessar and Mr. Griffith, they were at the podium and Jack Warner was speaking, he indicated if elected, he will be back as National Security Minister. Gary will be the police commissioner, and Kamala will be the leader. That's one thing I had to say. Number 2.
No, he didn't say that. That's a lie. That's not true. He didn't say that.
Mr. Griffith, when you were police commissioner, it's not alleged. You had a racket going on with the gun running operations, and they were giving money to your son's football league. All right?
Stop. Okay, stop.
Wait, I want to get the name of that person, please. Can you please give the name?
I do have.
Gentlemen, you can't people. I need to sue. There's a Dionarine Dial. He just had to pay me $150,000 for the same thing.
That's a foreign call too, eh?
We're going to stop that.
This is what I want. I want the PNM fanatics to call names and say it. I am making good money by suing people for lying. That is the
next
campaign.
Callers, please just ask a question.
Steve, they cannot. The PNM is panicking. That is why these jokers are coming on with lies. That is the PNM propaganda. They lie. And you can't call in.
We have time to take 1 more call.
Can you
good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Go ahead.
I would like Gary Griffith always saying that crime went down while he wasn't. Remember, it had curfew, right? And then it had the 2 years of COVID. So crime must go down because if you're inside, you can't come out to do your mischief, right? And he always feel that everything that other people say is lie, and he always right. I find it very disingenuous with himself. right? And everything is
That's not a question. Thank
That's
you.
not a question. God, you're boring people with your PNM propaganda. So let me answer that quickly, Paul.
Gary, why are you assuming everybody who have a problem challenge is it PNM?
But you know what it is. You have.
It might be PDP. It might be MSJ.
The PNM is well structured to lie.
PDP might be PEP.
It might be PEP. It might, Philip ain't holding back words.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
All right, so quickly, so to answer that question, when the crime started reducing was 3 months before COVID started. If you recall, in Carnival 2020, it was regarded as the safest carnival ever. There was not even one incident. So that reduction took place before COVID. After I left as Commissioner of Police in October, November 2021, it was the highest number of murders, the second and third in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. That was still during COVID, state of emergency, public health regulations. 3, I didn't know that these people, that criminals had some type of a memo to say, well, I'm not going to kill or rape because of COVID or because of public health regulations. Because in the United States, Boston, Detroit, LA, New York City, almost every city, crime went up because of COVID. In Guyana and Jamaica, after COVID, crime actually went down because in contrast to, again, the false narrative being pushed. When it is you have a situation like a public health regulation and you have situations like that, there's going to be unemployment, there's going to be inflation, cost of living is going to go up, people are going to lose their jobs. And that is what caused many persons to commit crime throughout the United States. And in Jamaica and Guyana, after COVID, after the public health regulation, there was a massive reduction in crime. So I guess the murderers and the rapists and the home invaders in Guyana and Jamaica didn't read the memo by the PNM people to say, well, it's during COVID, we're supposed to have a reduction. So that false narrative. And additionally, the majority of the crimes taking place in this country now is during broad daylight, which was the same time. And so whether it was health regulations or not, people were allowed to walk around during the day. So that concept that you had, it's false, it's misleading. The facts have just shown that under my watch in that last year, it was the highest reduction in every crime. And it was not just about crime. It had to do with public trust and confidence in the police going up from 14 to 55%. Crime become number 4 concern behind health, education, and the economy. And that is because the character traits I bring. Again, the guy who says I'm a one-trick pony. I have one trick more than you, brother. But it's not just about law enforcement. It's about leadership. It's about management. It's about motivating police officers to turn them into something that had the country believing in them. And that's the same thing that I intend
Gary,
to do.
as a PNM person, me as a PNM person, I could tell you that you did make a difference as Commissioner of Police. I could tell you that live on it. You did make a difference. You don't get, I thought you fell in line after. I thought you fell in, no, I'm telling you, I supported you as Commissioner of Police. I supported your ascension because I felt that the police needed somebody who didn't come up through the ranks because that police service is rotten. But I thought you would have made that huge difference. And unfortunately, at the end, you fell in line with the nonsense that they were doing.
But what's the nonsense? Wendell, the nonsense. Wendell, what is the nonsense? I wasn't the one who interfered with a merit list. I topped a merit list. It is that Wendell, let me tell you something. The PNM people who are attacking me now, if Kid Rowley jumps and say, I made a mistake, Gary's the best thing since sliced bread. You know that. They will blindly say, yeah, I agree, I support Gary again. I ask the country, stop being blinded by politicians. Look at the data, look at the individual, and make a decision which is best for you and the country. Stop
Mr. Griffith, your closing comments in light of our time being up to your candidates and the country for LGE 2023 on Monday.
I ask the country, make a decision based on what is best for you, for your community, for your country. Stop blindly following political leaders. If it is you feel that someone has the political will, the policies, the programs, the plans to make life better for you, which is what I would have done as a Commissioner of Police, as a Minister of National Security, I give the assurance to the country, I will do the same for you. I can make your corporation safer. I can make your community safer. The only way we can do that is if we win. So I ask you on August the 14th, look for that symbol with that lighthouse and the triangle, vote for the NTA candidate. And if it is that you're in another location and there's a UNC candidate, I ask those 3 constituency supporters, send Keith Rowley and PNM a message, loud and clear, enough is enough. It is time to transform Trinidad and Tobago.
Gary Griffith, thank you for being with us this morning. We appreciate your time and your contribution.
And we ain't touch on Philip Alexander yet, eh?
Oh gosh, don't start. Oh gosh, can we just
Thank
go
you,
there?
Gary. Thank you so much for
Gary Griffith, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, this is where we wrap up the Power Breakfast Show. The streaming. Of course, tomorrow we will have the Prime Minister. We'll have the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, as our guest tomorrow, as we head towards LGE 2023 on Monday. So look forward to that interview tomorrow, where the same panel will be interviewing the Prime Minister on some of the top issues as we move to LGE 2023.
Have a great day. You'll be safe.
I didn't miss that when he bowled Mr. Expo. I didn't miss that.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll chat with you guys by tomorrow morning.
All right.